Your cat walks up to the food bowl, takes a few bites, then backs away, even though the bowl is still full. Or it scoops food out onto the floor with its paw before eating. Or it drinks from a glass on the counter, from a dripping faucet, from anywhere except its own water bowl. Most owners chalk this up to pickiness, stubbornness, or just the inexplicable weirdness of cats. But there is a real biological explanation behind these behaviors, one that has nothing to do with the food itself. And once you understand it, you will never look at your cat's bowl the same way again. If you want to understand what your cat is actually trying to tell you, hit the like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell. Every week we uncover something about cats that changes how you see them. Cat whiskers are not decorative. They are not just a charming detail that makes cats look expressive or cute. They are precision instruments. Each whisker, known scientifically as a vibrissa, is embedded in the skin at roughly 3 times the depth of a regular hair, and its base is surrounded by a dense network of nerve endings and highly specialized sensory receptors. That means every single whisker is essentially a living sensor capable of picking up information with extraordinary sensitivity. Whiskers detect the smallest shifts in air currents around the cat, which allows it to perceive nearby objects and moving surfaces even without directly seeing them. They function as a spatial navigation system, feeding the brain real-time data about the exact distance between the cat's body and the objects surrounding it. When a cat moves through a dark room without bumping into anything, or calculates with perfect precision whether it can squeeze through a narrow gap, that is the whiskers doing the work, measuring and transmitting spatial information to the brain continuously. They are not passive features. They are active sensory tools operating at every moment of the cat's life, whether the cat is hunting, resting, eating, or simply sitting still. So what happens when those highly refined sensors are overstimulated repeatedly? That is where a phenomenon known as whisker fatigue comes in. The concept is straightforward, but its consequences run deeper than most people expect. When a cat's whiskers make constant contact with the walls of a narrow or deep bowl, the kind used in most traditional cat feeding setups, the sensory receptors at the base of each whisker receive continuous involuntary stimulation. Every brush against the rim of the dish, every press of the whisker against the side of the container generates a nerve signal that travels directly to the brain. Once or twice, that is nothing. But repeated dozens of times throughout a single meal, that accumulations of signals creates a real sensory overload. The brain begins processing a constant stream of information it did not seek out, does not need, and cannot simply switch off. Because whiskers have no off switch. They are active by design. When the environment forces them to fire repeatedly without any meaningful information behind that stimulation, the result is discomfort, irritation, and in many cases a growing reluctance to approach the very bowl that is causing the problem. The cat is not being difficult. It is responding logically to something genuinely unpleasant. This is exactly the point where most owners misread what is happening. When the cat eats the food, it's scooped onto the floor, but leaves what is still in the bowl. When it approaches the dish, eats a little, walks away, and comes back several times instead of finishing in one go. When it consistently prefers drinking from an open glass, a running tap, or any flat surface over its own water bowl. When it seems enthusiastic about eating from certain dishes but reluctant with others that contain the exact same food. All of these behaviors share something in common. They are almost always interpreted as signs that the cat is fussy, demanding, or simply being its unpredictable self. But in a significant number of these cases, the cat is not rejecting the food or the water. It is rejecting the sensory experience that comes with that particular container. The food can be its favorite. The water can be perfectly fresh. The problem is not what is inside the bowl. The problem is the bowl itself. And recognizing that difference is the key to understanding what is actually going on. And what to do about it. To fully grasp why this generates so much discomfort, it helps to appreciate the scale of sensitivity involved. Cats have approximately 24 primary whiskers arranged in 4 rows on each side of the muzzle, plus additional vibrissae above the eyes, under the chin, and on the front legs. Together they form a high-precision spatial detection system that covers the cat's immediate environment from multiple angles simultaneously. Research into feline neurology shows that the region of the cat's brain dedicated to processing whisker information is disproportionately large relative to body size, which gives a clear sense of just how central this system is to the animal's overall functioning. When those sensors receive repeated contact signals from the walls of a bowl, the brain cannot selectively ignore that input. It processes it the same way it would process any other relevant sensory signal. That generates a genuine cognitive load that, accumulated across multiple meals every single day, translates into stress, avoidance behavior, and feeding pattern changes that most owners never connect back to the design of the dish. The design of the feeding container is, in most cases, the direct source of the problem. Deep bowls with high walls are the most problematic because they force the cat to lower its head fully into the dish to reach the food, which guarantees whisker contact with the sides on every single bite. Narrow containers with pronounced edges create the same issue. Even some modern-looking water fountains and feeders that appear practical and appealing from a human perspective can be consistent sources of unwanted whisker stimulation if their shape was not designed with the cat's sensory needs in mind. The practical solution is as simple as the problem itself. Wide, shallow dishes with low or no sides eliminate almost all whisker contact during eating and drinking. They do not need to be expensive or specially marketed as whisker-friendly. They simply need to be wide enough that the cat can eat without its whiskers touching anything. That one small change in the home setup can produce a noticeable shift in how comfortably and willingly the cat approaches its meals. What makes whisker fatigue worth taking seriously beyond biological curiosity is its cumulative impact on the cat's well-being. A cat that experiences sensory discomfort at every meal does not just eat slightly less than it should. It can begin to develop a negative association with the feeding area itself, becoming more anxious or hesitant around mealtimes, even when it is genuinely hungry. In prolonged cases, this can contribute to irregular eating patterns, mild agitation around the food bowl, or a general increase in stress that owners notice without ever identifying the true cause. The cat's nervous system does not categorize types of discomfort. If something generates repeated sensory stress, the system responds. When that source of stress is present multiple times a day, every day, its effect on the animal's overall well-being is not trivial. It is a small cause with consequences that build quietly and consistently over time, often hiding in plain sight. One of the most striking things about whisker fatigue is that the fix requires almost no effort or expense. No medication, no urgent vet visit, no dietary change, no investment in specialized products. Just attention to the shape of the bowl and a small adjustment to something most people never think twice about. It is the kind of discovery that, once you know it, feels completely obvious in hindsight. But before knowing it, owners can spend months or even years changing food brands, trying different flavors, or simply accepting that their cat is just finicky, never suspecting that the answer was sitting right there on the floor in front of them the whole time. Whisker fatigue is a reminder that cats communicate what they feel through their behavior, and that the explanation for that behavior is often hiding in the most unexpected details of the environment we build around them. The next time your cat backs away from a full bowl, scoops food onto the floor before eating, or consistently avoids its water dish in favor of anything else nearby, do not assume it is being difficult. Watch it. Ask yourself whether the problem might be the container and not the cat, because what looks like stubbornness is very often a completely rational response to a sensory experience we cannot feel, but that is very real to them. Your cat's whiskers are processing the world in ways that go far beyond what most people ever consider, and adjusting that one small detail in your home can make a genuine difference in how comfortable and relaxed your cat feels every single day. If this video made you see your cat's routine differently, share it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. See you in the next one.